Hello students, how are you? I hope that you are all using study material properly. In the previous portion of the life processes in nutrition, we have discussed about the autotrophic nutrition, especially photosynthesis, and then heterotrophic nutrition, types of heterotrophic nutrition we have discussed, parasitic nutrition, saprophytic nutrition, holozoic nutrition. In holozoic nutrition, we also have discussed about the nutrition in amoeba and paramecium. Now we have to discuss about the nutrition in human. As you know already, human being shows holozoic mode of nutrition, and already we have discussed holozoic nutrition take place in the 5 steps. First step, ingestion of the food. Second, digestion. Third, absorption of digested food. Then assimilation, and last one is egestion. In all these 5 steps, digestion process is the most important process. Why? Because without digestion, food can't be converted into simpler form, and our cells can utilize only the food in simpler form. And as we know, human beings are the very complex organism, so we have a particular system known as digestive system for the digestion of the food. So first of all we have to discuss about the digestive system in human. Digestive system in human being we can divide in the two parts. The first is alimentary canal, and the second is digestive glands. These glands that help in the digestion. Alimentary canal is a hollow tube-like structure which is about 8 to 10 meter long. Now, in alimentary canal there are different parts. Start from the mouth. In the mouth there is oral, or you can say buccal cavity. Second thing, esophagus, or you can say food pipe. Third is stomach, then small intestine, then large intestine, and last is anus. These are the main part of the alimentary canal. First of all, mouth, and in the mouth there is a cavity known as oral or buccal cavity. Esophagus, that is food pipe. Stomach, there is a muscular bag-like structure, large widest structure. Then there is a highly coiled tube-like structure, small intestine, and then large intestine, and last one is anus, through which the undigested remaining part of the food is digested. In the glands, first gland comes salivary glands, which are found in our mouth. Then second is gastric glands. These are found in the wall of the stomach. Then liver. This is the largest gland of the human body, and it is situated in our right side above the stomach. And then pancreas, it is just below the stomach. And then intestinal glands, these are found in the wall of the small intestine. These all glands secretes some juices that help in the digestion. We will discuss about these all one by one. Students, you can see the digestive system of human being. We started from the oral cavity. Oral cavity, this in this oral cavity you can see teeth, tongue and salivary glands are there. We will discuss further. Now only I am describing you the position and location of the different parts. So oral cavity and this is the nasal path. These combine in our this upper throat region, that is called the pharynx region. This is actually common hollow region for both esophagus and the windpipe. Windpipe and food pipe both opens in this hollow region, that is called pharynx. In this pharynx region, both food pipe and windpipe opens. Now here one thing comes, how the food enter in the esophagus, okay, but how it prevents the entry of the entry into the windpipe. As I told you, both opens in the same region. For this, for at the windpipe, a lid is present, membranes and card lid present. It is known as the epiglottis. And this opening of windpipe is known as the glottis. When we swallow the food, then this epiglottis closes the opening of the windpipe, that is glottis, due to which the food does not enter in the windpipe. Now, this is the windpipe, long pipe, and then this opens in a muscular bag-like structure, stomach. Stomach is the widest part, already I have told you. Then this stomach portion is in our left side, and after then it opens in a small tube that is U-shaped. Start from this part to this highly coiled part. This is the small intestine part. It is the longest part of the alimentary canal, and then it opens in the large intestine is in the anus. Here the glands are there. You can see the two glands clearly, liver and pancreas. Other glands found in the oral cavity and in the wall of small intestine and in the wall of the stomach. So we will discuss about this one by one. This is appendix. Appendix, it is a vestigial organ of our body. It is not in use because it is used to digest the cellulose. It is longer in the or well developed in the herbivores, because herbivores eat directly plant or plant part. There can be large amount of cellulose, and cellulose is tough, so they have large appendix. But as in our body we use the cooked food, so no need to use the no need to digest cellulose more. So we will discuss one by one about these parts. First of all, in the mouth, how the mouth help in the digestion. In the mouth you can see there is a cavity which is known as oral cavity. Oral means and buccal cavity. Oral cavity between the two lips, or buccal cavity between the two jaw. These are the known as cavity, oral cavity or buccal cavity. You can see in our mouth. What are found in our mouth? Teeth, tongue, and a liquid part. Liquid part is known as saliva. Saliva is secreted by the salivary gland. So in the mouth, the three things are there. First of all, teeth. Second thing, tongue. And third thing is salivary glands. There is no description of teeth and tongue in your syllabus. The type of teeth, you know, the 4 types of teeth, their type of arrangement of the teeth, these are not in your syllabus. Only you should know teeth function. They cut the food into small pieces and then chew and grind it. Tongue, as you know, tongue is a muscular organ. Tongue has the two functions because tongue contains the taste buds, as you know. So it is helpful in taking taste. Another function, when you chew the food with the teeth, then you can see your tongue continuously moves. Why? Because it helps in mixing saliva with the chewing food. Now the salivary glands. Salivary glands types are not in our syllabus, but for knowledge I am telling you these are three pairs. These are three pairs. What are these three pairs? One is in our cheek region below the ear. This is called parotid glands. One pair in the lower jaw and one pair below the tongue. Below the tongue, one pair known as the sublingual and this submandibular. So there are three pairs of glands. This is not on syllabus. Only function you should know. Salivary gland secretes saliva. Saliva is a watery liquid. Saliva contain salivary amylase enzyme. Only one is in our syllabus. Salivary amylase enzyme. This salivary amylase enzyme digests starch into simple sugar. Maltose. So first function of saliva. Saliva contains salivary amylase enzyme that digests starch into simple sugar known as maltose. Starch is what? Already we have discussed that in the formation of food in photosynthesis, glucose is produced in animal and plant. Glucose is the fuel for our body, but it should be stored in a safe form when it is not needed. So glucose is stored in the safe form in plant in the form of starch, and in the animal glucose is stored in the form of glycogen. So what we take from food from the plant in the form of starch. So starch digests into maltose with the help of salivary amylase enzyme. It is a carbohydrate, complex form of carbohydrate. Another function of saliva. Saliva provides lubrication to the chewing food. Lubrication, chikanai, softness. So it provides lubrication to the chewing food to make it easy to swallow. We can eat the food very easily with the help of saliva. So these are the only two functions of saliva. One is salivary amylase enzyme digests starch into simple sugar maltose and provide lubrication to chewing food for easy swallowing. Next is esophagus or food pipe. Food pipe is used for the passage of food from oral cavity to the stomach. How this happens? In the lining of the esophagus, this is the muscular lining, and the muscles of this lining shows a special type of movement known as peristaltic movements. Peristaltic movements are rhythmic contractions and relaxations. The muscular lining of the esophagus shows rhythmic contraction relaxations. Due to this, they push the food towards the stomach, and these movements are known as the peristaltic movements. After this esophagus, food reaches into stomach. Food pipe has no role in the direct digestion. In the stomach, as you know, stomach is the widest part. After eating food, chewing food, first of all it comes in the stomach. When it fills, then we say now it is enough. Now in the stomach, how the digestion take place? Stomach lining contain gastric glands. Here you should know, in the muscular lining, strong muscles are there in the stomach wall. They show some churning movements continuously. Due to this, food also rotates properly. And in this lining of the stomach contain gastric glands. This gastric gland secretes gastric juice. Gastric juice contains three components. First is hydrochloric acid. HCl. Second is mucus, and third is pepsin enzyme. Only one enzyme in the GEJU in your syllabus, pepsin enzyme. Renin is not in your syllabus. Hydrochloric acid. As you know, hydrochloric acid is a mineral acid and strong acid also. So what is the role of this acid in our stomach? First is killing germs like bacteria. When the bacteria or other germs comes with the hydrochloric acid, comes with the food in stomach, then the hydrochloric acid kills these germs or bacteria. Second thing, they provide acidic medium to facilitate the action of pepsin enzyme. Pepsin enzyme, actually it is an inactive form, pepsinogen. Pepsinogen is the inactive form. So it becomes active in the presence of the acid. So hydrochloric acid is necessary for the activation of the pepsin enzyme. Now next thing comes mucus. You know, hydrochloric acid is the very strong acid and it can make harm to the stomach lining under normal condition. So what is there? Mucus provide a protective layer. Mucus provide a protective layer to the lining of the stomach to prevent from the corrosive action of the hydrochloric acid. It is very important here. In the absence of mucus, hydrochloric acid can make any injury to the stomach lining. Here also under normal condition, when food is there, then acid is used by the food. But under normal condition, when you are not taking food, you know, when you are not taking food, you are not taking food timely, 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, you are not taking food, then what happens? Burning pain starts. Why? Due to the hydrochloric acid. So in that condition, some injury may be there, ulcer, you know, ulcer, they may be created by the hydrochloric acid. That's why you are advised to take your food timely. So mucus prevent under normal condition. Now pepsin enzyme. Pepsin enzyme digests protein. Into simpler form. Not simplest, only simpler form, because only partial digestion take place in the stomach. Complete digestion will take place in the small intestine. Here only partial digestion. First of all, in the saliva, carbon digestion starts, and in the stomach, protein start to digest. After then, now small intestine. Already I have told you small intestine is the longest part of alimentary canal, about 7 meters. Now small intestine perform two functions. It performs two functions. First is complete digestion of food. Already I told you in upper stomach only partial digestion was there. Complete digestion of food takes place in the small intestine, and second function is absorption of digested food digested completely and also absorbed in the small intestine. There are two functions. So we will discuss about these two one by one. First of all, complete digestion of food. For the complete digestion of food, it receives three types of juices. First is bile juice from liver. Second, pancreatic juice from pancreas. And third is intestinal juice from intestinal glands. So all the three glands secrete their juices in the small intestine for complete digestion. We will discuss about these one by one. Liver. Already I told you, liver is the largest gland of the body. For knowledge, liver consists gallbladder. In the gallbladder, bile juice is stored temporarily, produced in the liver by the hepatic cells, and this is stored in the gallbladder. From gallbladder, the bile duct comes, and here already I have told you there is a pancreas gland was there. Pancreas gland, actually it is a heterocrine gland. It secretes both hormone and digestive juice. So mainly it is a heterocrine exocrine gland that secretes digestive juice. So pancreas juice secretes by pancreas, and from gallbladder bile juice comes, and they connected with join each other and make a common hepatopancreatic duct. This is only for your knowledge, not in your syllabus. Duct means tube. Hepato means for bile and pancreas for the pancreas. They make a common duct, hepatopancreatic duct, through which both bile juice and pancreas juice enters in the small intestine. Okay, so small intestine, the first part from the stomach. In this small part, this duct opens that carries both bile juice and pancreatic juice. Now I am going to tell you what are the main functions of these two juices. About the bile juice, bile juice perform two functions. First function, provide alkaline medium. Alkaline medium means basic medium. Why? To facilitate the action of pancreatic and intestinal enzymes. Bile juice does not contain any enzyme. Pancreatic juice and intestinal juice contain enzymes that help in the complete digestion. So, but these enzymes can digest only in the alkaline medium, and you know in the stomach acidic medium was there. So to neutralize the acidic medium, provide alkaline medium. Bile juice contain bile salts. Bile salts provide alkaline medium. Second thing, emulsification of fat. Emulsification of fat means what? Bile juice contain bile salts. They break down large globule of fat. Digestion of fat is very tough because their globules of molecules are very large. So these bile salts break down the large globule of fat into a smaller globule to make their digestion easier. Okay, so bile juice does not contain any enzyme, but it plays a very important role in the digestion process by providing alkaline medium for the enzymes. And second thing, it help in the digestion of the fat. Now second is pancreatic juice. Pancreatic juice contain Actually many enzymes are there, but in your syllabus only two enzymes are there. One is trypsin, other is lipase. Trypsin digests protein into simpler form, and lipase digests emulsified fat. Emulsified fat means emulsified by the bile juice. These small fat globules are digested by the lipase enzyme further. Okay, so only two enzymes in our syllabus. Up to this you have discussed. There are two proteinizing enzymes are there. Pepsin in the stomach by gastric juice, and lipase in the small intestine in the pancreatic juice. Okay. Now intestinal juice. Intestinal glands secretes intestinal juice that contain many enzymes. A collection of enzymes are there. There is no description about the enzymes, so no need to learn. You should know these enzymes show final digestion. The enzymes of the intestinal juice shows final digestion, and after the final digestion there are three main food components: carbohydrate, fat and protein. Carbohydrate is digested finally into glucose, fat into fatty acids and glycerol, and protein into amino acids. So these are the final product of the digestion: carbohydrate into glucose, fat into fatty acid and glycerol, protein into amino acids. So this is the final digestion. Okay. Now second function of the small intestine, absorption of digested food. How the absorption take place? For this, the last portion of the small intestine, it contains some, its lining contains some finger-like folds. These contain villi. Single is known as villus and the common called villi. They increase the surface area for the absorption. So these are very thin walled and richly supplied with blood vessels also. These are richly supplied with blood capillaries. So absorption, already I told you, mixing of the digested food into blood stream or the fluid. We have the fluid material blood. So the food is digested by the thin wall of these villi, and then they mix in the capillaries blood, and through the blood these are transported to each and every cell of the body. So villi helps in the absorption of the digested food. Other thing also I am going to tell you, in the villi in the middle a large vessel is there which is called lacteal. This lacteal transport the digested fat. This transport only the digested fat. This is a lymph vessel, a large lymph vessel that transport only the digested fat. After then absorption digested food, large intestine. Already we discussed large intestine. Actually it is done in three parts. This is called colon, this is cecum, colon also three parts: ascending, transverse and descending, and this is then rectum. The three regions of the large intestine: colon, cecum and rectum. There is no description about these parts. Only you have to know the wall of the large intestine. It is a wider part and its wall also contains villi, and they absorbs the excess amount of water and some remaining minerals and vitamins from the remaining part of the food and convert into the fecal material that is stored in the rectum, and through the anus these are ejected timely by the contraction of the muscles. Now you should know one thing: when we take the food, when food passes from one part to the another part in the digestive system, then it never passes directly. It is regulated. Its passage always regulated by some ring-shaped specialized muscles which are known as sphincter muscles. Here only two in your syllabus. One is from the stomach to the intestine. Here these muscles is known ring-shaped muscle. These are unidirectional muscles. These open only in the one direction and they allow only 1 teaspoonful food in one time, and this ring-shaped muscle is known as the pyloric sphincter muscle. Another is given anal sphincter muscle. Anal sphincter muscle, which is found at the opening of the anus. So these two sphincter muscles only in your syllabus. Pyloric sphincter muscle that regulates the passage of the food from stomach to the intestine, and anal sphincter muscle that regulates the exit of the food from the anus. Okay, fine. So this is the complete description of our digestive system. Now students, I am going to give you some questions. You should solve these problems. First thing, you have to make a table of different enzymes with their location and function. With their location and function, you have to make a table of the different enzymes which is only in your syllabus, which I have told you. Second thing, differences between pepsin and trypsin. Basis I am going to give you. On what basis you have to find? First is so these are three. First is production site, second function site, and third is function medium required. So you have to differentiate both pepsin and trypsin. Okay students, it's enough for today. And one thing I am also going to tell you, I have sent PDF file of the third chapter in chemistry and 10 chapter light in physics. You have to fare these notes. These are the notes in PDF file of these two chapters. You have to fare it. It will save our time when school will reopen. Okay.